Hi, friend. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Danielle Torrez, and today I'm going to share with you how to build really anything using strategies laid out in the Bible. But specifically, in my channel, I talk a lot about marketing and I talk about business strategies, specifically marketing and business strategies that can make you money. So whether you're building your personal brand, you're starting a small business, or you already have a business going and you're wondering, how do I take the next best step? This is why I want you to watch the entire video, because I'm going to lay out 7 steps from the Bible that are going to help you, no matter what you're building, to build on a solid foundation and to do it in a way that has lasting impact. So let's get started. Building anything new is very difficult. Have you ever been there where you have this dream, you have a passion, it feels very exciting? Maybe it's something that you saw online and you say, yes, I want to try that. And at first you have uninformed optimism. So you don't know what it's going to take to really fulfill that dream. So you start to chase the dream, you get excited, you run after it. And it's time, after dreaming it up, to take the first step. Then what? For most of us, we actually stop right there because we don't have a strategy and a plan to get us from point A all the way to where our big dreams are leading us. So what I've found is that the Bible actually has answers for this. Yes, it's a book about a king and his kingdom, but it's also a book about strategy. And there are a lot of things that we can learn about marketing, a lot of things that we can learn about personal presentation, or personal branding, as we like to call it in 2024. And there's a lot of things that we can learn about business strategy. So whether you are starting a personal brand, you are starting a business, or you already have a business and you want it to go to the next level, I believe that stories from a book in the Bible called Nehemiah are a great way to learn what next steps to take when. The order in which we conduct business is important. It's important because you need a process that you can follow that works every time, or else we often get lost in the big dream and we don't know what steps to take, so we just quit and we look for another big vision and we look for another big dream. And then the cycle of uninformed optimism starts all over again. In the Bible, there's a guy named Nehemiah, and Nehemiah was amongst the exiles in Jerusalem. For any of you who are not familiar with the story, the Israelites in the Bible were exiled to Babylon, and then Babylon was overtaken by Persia, and you had an Israelite named Nehemiah who was the king's cupbearer. Well, he got word from his brother and some associates that things weren't doing so good in Jerusalem. So it became really heavy on Nehemiah's heart, and he started to ask the question, with this information, what should I do? So the first thing you want to do when you're building a strategy for your personal brand or your business, you want to find a problem that's worth your attention. So number 1, find a problem that's worth your attention. Here's why. If it is not a big enough problem and if you don't have enough passion for it, then when things get difficult, you will quit. And trust me, there is a time where things will get difficult. The thing you want to build should be something that sparks passion. It sparks emotion in you. If there's no passion, it's going to be really hard to sustain the vision. Your passion or your why needs to be big enough that when things get difficult, or you start to run low on resources, or the next best shiny object comes along, that you won't hop ship and lose focus. You will stay the course because this thing that you're building means something to you, and it's attached to your deepest level of why. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to pray. Simple as that. For some people believe in meditation. Some people believe in talking to a higher power. I believe in God. So to me, taking that time to just say, is this the best path forward for me? And how should I do it? And asking God for strategy, specific strategy, is the best thing that you can do after something comes on your heart. Because you may realize, I'm not even aligned with this path. This is what somebody else wants for me. Or this is just a good idea I saw online, and it actually has nothing to do with my ultimate path. So getting really clear, whether it's through prayer or deep thought, on what you should be doing and if this is the right path you should take is very important. For Nehemiah, it says in Nehemiah 1:4, for some days I mourned and fasted and prayed before the God of heaven. So for Nehemiah, it was important that he took time to get clear on what it was that he wanted to do. Is this a problem that he wanted to solve? And who should he reach out to for answers? The third thing I want you to do is be very careful who you share your ideas with. So for a lot of us, we get excited about something and we just start talking about it. We just start telling everyone. And there's actually a psychological concept that says that when you tell people, that is the reward all in itself. It is, you don't need to act upon it because you got the dopamine hit just from sharing it. So there are times where we tell people what we want to build and we tell people what we want to do, and mentally that acts as a substitute for actual action. You don't want to do that. Another reason you want to watch who you tell is, have you ever noticed that often the people that you tell your dreams to, they're not on the same wavelength? They didn't get the dream. They didn't get the desire and the passion. And telling them, what you hear back is limitations. Oh, well, you can't do that because. Oh, well, what about this? Oh, well, you don't want to give up your security or your job. The people that you're telling, when they have a small vision and they're small-minded or they're in the same boat as you, they don't often have what it takes to dream big and to understand what's been dropped and downloaded into your heart. That is your dream and your vision, and you really want to safeguard it until you can take those action steps to make it happen. So what did Nehemiah do? What can we learn from Nehemiah? Well, in Nehemiah 2:4, it says that he went to in Nehemiah 2:4, it says that he went to the king and shared what was on his heart with the king. Now the king, hey, he's already taken over Babylon. He obviously knows how to conquer. He knows how to create a strategy, and he has the resources to help. So by Nehemiah telling the king was able to say, yeah, hey, what can I do to help you make this happen? And the resources that Nehemiah asked for, he granted them. The connections that Nehemiah needed to make, he gave it to him. And that's what really happens when we find a mentor or we find, someone else with visionary ideas that we can share our ideas with. Instead of stopping us and saying, this isn't a great idea because, they say, yes, and they can expand the vision. They can make it bigger. They can help us make it better. And they can connect us to the resources we need to make that vision come to pass. So now that you've, number one, found a problem worth your time and attention, two, you've prayed or you've really taken some time to think about it deeply and find if it aligns with your path, three, you found a mentor or somebody to share your vision with that can help you add to it and make it even bigger and more doable instead of small-minded and someone who tells you, don't go that direction. Now, number four is I want you to create your strategy. It's time to get started thinking deeply about what you want to do and the steps you're going to need to take to make it happen. How did Nehemiah do this? So in Nehemiah 2:11 through 17, I won't read the whole thing, but it talks about how in the middle of the night, once Nehemiah got to Jerusalem, he walked around the walls and he went and saw what areas the wall needed repair, which was his original intent, was to go to Jerusalem and repair the wall so that the people that were still in Jerusalem had protection. So he did that in the middle of the night. He didn't tell anyone what he was going to do. But he went, he walked around, he prayed, he thought about it, and he came up with a strategy for how to build the wall and who to get involved. So how does that affect you? A lot of people, they just wing it. They just wing it in business. They just wing it in brand. They just wing it in marketing. And what you have is you'll end up having a lot of disjointed marketing or business strategy efforts where this person's doing that and that person's doing that, and there's no cohesive plan. When you start with a strategy, what happens is that you have something written down that becomes, one, your source of truth, but also it becomes a document that everybody else can align with. So whether or not you bring in your team, if you hire an employee, whatever it is, or even for yourself, if you want to be a one-man business building machine, that you can reassess your document and say, okay, here was my original intent, and here's what I said the next step was going to be. So even though it's a hard time right now, or even though I feel a little lost, even though I feel a little discouraged, I already know what goals I need to hit in the upcoming quarters, in the upcoming years, or in the upcoming days ahead, because you wrote that strategy out. You got clear and you wrote it down. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to get very clear on the steps that you need to take, and I want you to write them down. Goal setting is never a waste of time. Organization is never a waste of time. You actually save so much time and so much heartache, trust me on that one, by writing it down and making a plan. So for some people, that's, setting your goals. What is it that you want to achieve? When do you want to achieve it by? And you want to make sure that those are not like arbitrary number goals or things that you personally cannot control. When you're writing down your plan and you're writing down your goals, you want to make sure that you're writing strategy. You're writing action steps, not hopes and dreams, okay? Now, after you write action steps, here's what I want to do. Here's what I want to do next. Make it a solid, doable plan. Then you can say, best case scenario, these are the goals that I want to reach. But the truth is, it's hard to know exactly when you're going to hit your monetary goals, when you're going to hit your follower or engagement goals, or whatever it may be. But you can be sure that if you build your plan around action steps, things that you yourself can control, that is what is going to help you stay consistent, and it's what's going to eventually move your dream forward. You will hit your goals, but when you don't hold to a super tight timeline, instead you hold yourself to a timeline of effort. That's the best way to create a strategy to move forward. Number 5, the fifth thing that you want to do is you want to build your team. Now, this is very exciting. You don't have to wait for a long time to build a team, whether you're just starting out or you've been in this a long time, even if you're a solopreneur. There are so many freelancers now that can help you take things that are arduous or time consuming off of your plate so that you can do the things that you're best at. So with Nehemiah, in Nehemiah 3, he did something I love. He put everybody that lived in Jerusalem in charge of building the wall that was right in front of them. So the thing that was extremely doable for them. So he's not going around and trying to build a whole wall. He's getting other people to build the wall piece by piece right in front of their houses, right in front of their gate, wherever it might be. So it's a coordinated effort that's happening all around the city. You may not be building a city. You may be building an online platform, a website, some content, some videos. You may be building a business, a service business, a product-based business, software, whatever it is. But you still need a team. Now, I'm a mom. I am an executive, and I also am a content creator. And that means that I need a team, and it doesn't always have to be a professional team. If you are a busy mom or a busy parent or a busy student or whatever, you can build a team for your personal life. There are VAs that help with personal life things. You can hire someone to clean your house, to do little tasks that feel draining to you and feel like, man, if I didn't have to do this, I could be making so much more impact or so much more money elsewhere. If you feel like that, it might be time to hire a team in that area. For me, there are things that even before I had resources, I contracted out. Like laundry. It piles up, it stresses me out, it's got to go. And I've found that every time I contract something out, my income actually increases because my mind is attuned to the things that it needs to for me to be really successful. If you're building a business team, there are so many freelancers that can help you get to where you're going. You can hire for graphics, editing, social media managers to make sure that you're posting content on time, copywriters. For those that are in service-based businesses, you can get operations consultants, 1099 employees. It doesn't have to be a full-time employee or a W-2 employee. There are lots of ways that you can build a team around you to support your efforts so that you're not doing it alone. One, because it feels great to have that support and just to have a team. of consultants or operators or employees, but it's going to feel good for you because the things that you're not great at, you're going to be able to delegate and give away so that it becomes a group effort and you have more to leverage than just your own hours, because you, my friend, have limited hours in a day. So what can you give away? What can you hire out for? What can you find a volunteer or even an intern for to do so that you don't have to do everything? You can stay focused on your most important tasks. Number 6, you want to stay disciplined and consistent. Also known as focus. Nehemiah was great at this. In Nehemiah 4:17, it says, I believe that one of the most important things about business is the ability to focus, the ability to stay disciplined, and the ability to stay consistent. So if you haven't built that up, I would suggest that before you even start a new venture, you start one area of discipline or focus that you can keep your promise to yourself in. And then once you get the confidence of discipline, once you get the confidence that I am the type of person who keeps my word to myself, I am the type of person who says I'm going to do a thing and then does it, then it's time to really build your dream. Because let me tell you, it's hard to put in the work to stay consistent, to keep going when it gets boring, to keep your plans, make your sales calls, do your daily task lists. But those are the things that are really going to help you as you move forward. It is very difficult to build a strong business when your focus is going here, there, and everywhere, when you don't exactly know what's going to be in your next day. You're just kind of winging it. Please don't do that. Nehemiah definitely did not do that. There were so many times that people tried to get Nehemiah off track. They tried to tell him that they were going to kill him. They tried to do it in nice ways, like frenemy ways. They tried to do it in war ways. In Nehemiah 4, we actually see that there were forces that were physically trying to attack the wall and make it so that the people would have to stop building. They would have to stop building. Have you ever come across a time like that when you're trying to build something new and it feels like every single thing is coming against you? Your finances just disappear, all your resources, the friends that you used to tell your ideas to or you used to bounce things off, they're just not there. You're in the messy middle. Everything gets cloudy and you can't see the way forward. But in Nehemiah 4, it actually says that when they were building the wall, they had to be ready for war. They had to be ready for attack. So they built it with bricks in one hand and their sword or their weapon in the other. Can you imagine? They stayed on ready. They stayed focused. They stayed consistent. And day in and day out, they built. For 52 days, they built. And at the end of that time, they were able to build a full wall that could protect Jerusalem. So I want you to do the same thing. No matter how many things come against you, no matter how hard it is, I know that you have a dream on the inside, deeply rooted, deeply planted, ideas that maybe you've had them for years and you've always wanted to build according to this vision that you've been given, but it's escaped you, or you haven't had the time, or you've had a lot of kids, or you haven't had the education, or maybe you've had all of that, but you just haven't had a system and a process that will help you to actually make these dreams a reality. Well, here it is. The final step I want you to do, number 7, the completion of this strategy, is to be generous. Keep that abundance mindset. When you're building a business, everything feels like you have to hoard resources. There's not going to be enough. When people are trying to create wealth, they feel like, oh my gosh, like if I give some away, it's actually going to be a detriment to me. But Nehemiah actually he never started to hoard, ever. He worked so hard that he was elevated over time to governor. And still, he never hoarded. Still, he gave freely. So in good times, in war, when people were coming against him, when they were plotting against him, when they were trying to take everything that he had, including his life, He stayed consistent and he stayed generous. In Nehemiah 4:14 through 17, it says that instead of hoarding and instead of taking from the people even what he was owed, he continued to give it freely. And he had 150 Jewish leaders and families that would come eat with him every day. He shared with everyone around. He was never stingy. And that's what I want to do. And that's what I hope you'll do too. And hey, I love nice things. It's okay to want nice things. It's okay to fully build that bank account, get that bag. You know what I'm saying? Like, get that bag. I'm working on it too. I'm working on my generational wealth plan as well. But with that, I never want, whether times are easy or they're hard, I never want to hoard. We saw Nehemiah didn't, and he was elevated continuously to the next level because he had an abundance mindset. So regardless of where you are in the journey, I want you to remember there's a concept in the Bible called seed time and harvest. And basically it's that when you sow a seed, that whatever you sow, that you shall also reap. It doesn't always mean that it's not tit for tat, right? It's not like, oh, I sowed this, so I'm going to reap this exactly. But what it means is that when you continue to sow, you continue to work that strategy. You continue to stay consistent, put seeds in the ground. I'm getting all churchy on you today. When you continue to do those things, eventually a harvest is going to be yours. That's a law. It's the law of seed time and harvest. It's not just a biblical law. It's a law. It's the law of nature. Look around. It's everywhere. So you want to stay consistent and keep planting those seeds. So as I wrap this up, we're going to remember to find a problem that's worth your attention, pray or think deeply about it. Make sure it's aligned with your path. You want to find a mentor or somebody that you can really trust to tell what your vision is. Talk about it back and forth and make sure that it's aligned with your personal path. Then you want to create your strategy, set that strategy into writing, put some goals alongside with it, action goals and not monetary goals. And then you want to build your team. Stay disciplined, focused, and consistent. Finally, be generous. I hope that this video has helped you. I hope it's given you some really great ideas for how to build your empire, if you will. So whether you're a marketer, you're a business person, or you're an entrepreneur, I really hope that this is giving you tools that you can really use. I have a video about personal branding that I did last week. If you haven't checked it out, check that out. If this video has helped you in any way or it's been an encouragement to you, I hope that you will do me the favor, like this video, be sure to subscribe, and I am coming out with videos every single week to help you build your personal brand, build your business, or build your marketing strategy. And for me, marketing should always make money. So if that's what you're into, please subscribe, share this video with somebody, and be sure to check out my video on building your personal brand. All right, see you guys next week.